They said he was coming back for me, Abena whispered, her frail fingers trembling as she held onto the thin fabric of her dress. But they were wrong. He never did. Once upon a time, in a small village called Nyamkai, nestled between lush green hills and a winding river, there lived a young woman named Abena. She was known throughout the village for her beauty, her kindness, and the soft, melodious voice that could calm even the most troubled hearts. Her father, Kofi, was a respected elder, and her mother, Efua, was known for her skill in weaving the most beautiful cloths. Abena's life was simple but full of love and laughter. The people of Nyamkai cared for each other like one big family. The village was vibrant, with colorful markets, children playing in the fields, and the sound of drums filling the air during celebrations. One day, a group of strangers arrived in the village. They were unlike anyone the villagers had ever seen before, with skin as pale as the moon and hair the color of the golden sun. The villagers were both curious and cautious, for these strangers spoke in a language that was difficult to understand. Among them was a young man named John, whose eyes were as blue as the sky on a clear day. He was different from the others, kind and eager to learn about the villagers' ways. John was particularly drawn to Abena. He admired her grace, her laughter, and the way she moved through life with such ease. Despite their differences, John and Abena found ways to communicate, laughing at their mistakes and teaching each other words from their native tongues. As time passed, John and Abena grew closer. The villagers noticed, and soon whispers filled the air about their budding romance. But love between a villager and a stranger was unheard of, and many worried about what this might bring. Abena's parents were cautious but could see that their daughter was happy. After much deliberation, they gave their blessing. One evening, under the light of a full moon, John asked Abena to marry him. "I will return to my land to prepare everything, and then I will come back for you," he promised. "We will be together forever, and I will take you to see the world beyond these hills." Abena's heart swelled with joy, and she eagerly agreed. The next morning, John and the other strangers left the village. Abena stood at the edge of Nyamkai, watching as they disappeared into the horizon, her heart full of hope and excitement for the future. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. But John did not return. Abena waited by the river every evening, her eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of him. The villagers whispered behind her back, some saying he would never return, others speculating that he had forgotten her. But Abena refused to believe it. She held on to the promise he made, the love they shared, and the dream of a life together. As the years passed, Abena's beauty began to fade, her hair turning grey, and her skin wrinkling with age. But her spirit remained strong. She never married, never entertained the advances of other men. She remained faithful to the promise John made, believing that one day he would come back for her. Her parents passed away, and her siblings married and had children of their own. The village of Nyamkai grew and changed, but Abena remained the same. She became a living legend, the woman who waited, the woman whose love never wavered. As she grew older, the young ones of the village would gather around her, asking her to tell the story of her white fiancé. Abena would smile softly, her eyes distant, and begin to speak of the day she met John, of the promise he made, and of the love that had sustained her all these years. But as the years turned into decades, even the young ones began to lose hope. They saw Abena grow older and frailer, her once strong voice now a soft whisper. They began to believe that perhaps John would never return, that Abena's love had been in vain. But Abena never gave up. Every evening, she would walk to the river, sit by its banks, and watch the sun set, waiting for the day John would return. She waited through the rain, the drought, the storms, and the calm. She waited as the world around her changed, as the old ways faded and new ones took their place. She waited even when her body grew weak and frail, even when her eyesight began to fail her. She waited because she believed in the power of love, in the strength of a promise, and in the hope that one day, her patience would be rewarded. And so, Abena waited. She waited until she was no longer the young, beautiful woman who had caught John's eye. She waited until she was 103 years old, a fragile old woman who had lived a life full of waiting. But still, she remained a virgin, her heart belonging only to the man who had promised to return for her. As she lay on her deathbed, the villagers gathered around her, their faces full of sadness and admiration. They had watched her wait her entire life, watched as her love and faith never wavered. They had seen her turn down countless suitors, seen her live a life of solitude, all because she believed in a promise made long ago. With her last breath, Abena whispered, "He will come for me." And then, she was gone. The villagers mourned her passing, but they also celebrated her life. They told her story to their children, and their children told it to their own. Abena's story became a legend, a tale of love, faith, and the power of a promise. Even now, in the village of Nyamkai, the story of Abena is still told. The old ones say that on quiet evenings, when the moon is full and the river is calm, you can hear Abena's voice, soft and clear, singing the song she used to sing as she waited for her love to return. And they say that somewhere, beyond the horizon, John finally found his way back to her. And now, they are together, in a place where time does not matter, where love is eternal, and where promises are always kept.